Welcome to the Wisdom, Wealth, and Winning Podcast. My name is Larry Crump, and I'm the councilman in the city of Newark.
And my name is Al Kinney, surrogate for the County of Essex.
My name is Larry Jones. I am the founder and CEO of Future Leaders of Tomorrow.
My name is Alpha Quan Hardy. I'm the director of Parks and Recreation in the Township of Hillside.
Pull up a seat and come and eat with us.
You keep a man happy by being his peace.
Listening and praying for him.
By being his peace and being a listener.
By bringing peace, providing support, and a constant encouragement.
Can you elaborate on that some?
I think that one of the things that men want is to be listened to be heard. It doesn't mean that we have to be followed, or we don't encourage or inspire pushback on things that we say. But in a world where it's hard to be heard at times, especially being black men, when we're dealing with a society that's built on racism, that's built in a lot of the other isms, just to be heard and acknowledged as a human being, you want to come home and be felt a human. And I think the other part of it is to be encouraged, right? So your wife, your spouse, your friends should always encourage you to be better in whatever space that you're in. And that comes from the listening aspect of it. You heard me. Now, is there any other actions I should take in order for me to be better in whatever space that I'm in? And I think the last part about is peace, right? So we're like warriors in the world that we're in. Like we're fighting against all of the demons. It could be the devil, coming after you. It can be how to financially provide for our family. It can be spiritual warfare. Whatever that thing might be, we want to come home and we want to have peace in that particular space. We don't want to take the war that's outside the home to bring it inside the home as well. And I think the best thing a woman can bring to you, particularly in my aspect of it, is those three things. You got to be encouraging. You got to be someone that's be inspirational or acknowledge me by just listening to me. And then the other part of it is I don't want to have war outside the house and then have war inside the house as well. It doesn't mean that you don't disagree. It just means how you disagree and being disagreeable, but yet realizing that I have an opinion. Just because I'm a man doesn't mean my opinion is less than yours. I may have some insecurities. It doesn't mean my insecurities should be exposed to other people. And the last part about it, I think that if I want to feel vulnerable, I want to be vulnerable with you. And that vulnerability shouldn't be exploited when there's some disagreement that happens in our household as well.
I think you hit the nail on the head. A lot of times we're in relationships or marriages and that for all of us at this point, and we don't necessarily feel comfortable, and I say this as sharing certain aspects of what's going on with your relationship in terms of the vulnerabilities, particularly. Because for a number of reasons. Number one is you don't want that to come back and get slapped in the face with it later on.
Yeah.
Number two, as a man, depending on how you were raised or reared, you have to show that you were strong.
Yeah.
Never show your weakness.
Yeah.
When I grew up in sports and everything, it was men don't cry. Don't show your weakness. Don't do that. And so we're programmed to do that, to be that way, as opposed to us saying, you know what, this is my person I'm with. This is my best friend, the person I love and want to be with the rest of my life. So a lot of times I see, and I can say personally with me, the communication, the lack of communication causes a rift that really shouldn't occur. We need to be able to be vulnerable and just say, you know what, this is who I'm with.
Yeah.
If it's going to go wrong down the line, it's going to go wrong down the line. But you have to be open and share that.
Yeah. And I think even in regards to peace, whether it's talking about like marriage and our wives, but even our friends, our bosses, if they're leading in supervisor positions, or just women in charge. I think if women operate in their feminine energy, I think society has created more. I hate to say only black women or black people, but we see it in black women that they have to be put. They are put in positions of authority, whereas that they have to operate in this masculine energy a lot. So I think because they've been operating in such a position or such an energy, whether it's taking care of the household by themselves or taking care of the kids or in leadership at work or just society in general, they have this guard up where they have to feel they create this strong black woman piece. You know, so I think that has created a space where women are not operating enough in their feminine energy, which will allow them to bring the peace, bring the understanding, bring the encouragement. Because I noticed the difference when I was working with or just interacting with women that was operating in feminine energy and women that was operating this is like more of that masculine energy. It's just a different level of conversation. And I'm not saying that they can't operate in both, but just being in one, being able to balance the two will allow for that to happen. And I've noticed that it's been a challenge. I think it's getting better. As with my wife, she operates on feminine energy, but we had that conversation. She had to learn that, just because society. She's always in leadership, raising a kid by herself. So just being in that space of in charge and understanding that when we have something that we don't agree with or something that's not that is in alignment, it doesn't really mean it's got to be into an argument or some type of conflict.
When you talk about peace, one of the biggest things I think about is safety. I think a lot of brothers don't feel safe
Yes.
in their relationships. So we're talking about, so me and my wife, I had an acronym that I started. It's called Thankfulness, Reliability, Understanding, Safety, and Transparency. And it's all based on trust, right? So, but the safety part is one of the most difficult parts of a relationship, because trying to find that peace, you have to feel safe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the tension comes in when a woman hasn't had a space of safety. How can she provide safety?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so now it's like, who teaches who?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And sometimes that's the difficult part. So we have to do our work, they have to do their work, but we have to be able to communicate and say, and say, some women, they don't know how to have healthy relationships with men.
Sure.
So now what happens then? So, so now we have to work through this, so you might just say, we're not going to do this here. You're not going to talk to me this type of way. And I'm not going to talk to you any type of way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It might have to be a little bit stern at first, but then you create a space of safety for one another, and I think in our community, that's one of the toughest things, right? If you look at the numbers statistically, a lot of women, they run the household, or they come from, single parent homes. Not all, but, where is that man to see? Where's that family to see what peace looks like, what safety looks like for a man?
Yeah.
Right? So I think that's where the tension comes in, is building safety.
I want to just jump into one thing you said, because you talked about trust and safety, right? So today is my mom's birthday, right? And so I had a moment where we went to my mom's gravesite and we put a flower on the grave. And, from the time that my mother passed, the first time I cried when I was at, Larry's mom's funeral. And I literally cried because, I saw myself, on stage. And when I heard the music, I just it connected to me. And I said, my mom is no longer. The day she passed, I was actually at Larry's mom's funeral. That's the first time I cried. I didn't even cry when she passed. I just reflected, because some odd reason I said crying is for soft people, right? And I'm not going to show emotions. I'm not going to break down. I know death is a part of life, right? I'm going to deal with it in a different way. And so between that day up until today, I literally broke down at the gravesite. I literally cried. And I started blaming myself for some dumb reason as to my mother's, passing. I can't believe it. What did I do? And my wife was there to console me, right? Because up until that moment, I didn't want to cry, right? I didn't want to break down. I felt that crying is a sign of vulnerability, and vulnerability is a sign that you could be a victim. So for whatever happens, right? Because we believe that being vulnerable, you can be exposed to being a victim. I said, Jared, don't tell nobody I cried, right? But I'm like, why am I saying that? So why am I being silly, right? But I think that having good friendships and good relationships, whether it's with your spouse or or even your friends, your brotherhood, you should be able to tell people, yo, man, I ain't got it today, right? I ain't got it today.
100%.
Like I'm feeling something that I need some support on.
Yeah.
And then the other part of it, you should be able to see that, yo, my man is going through something. Let me ask him some questions. Let me figure out what's going on through his head. And I think that relationships is what men need. I think that's where that peace comes from, right? Like I need to feel peace when I'm around you as my friends. When I get home, I need to have peace. I need to have a level of stability. I need to have some trust. I need to also be vulnerable and not be used against me. Yo, man, because we sometimes we don't take things too seriously, right? Yo, he crying, man. He's soft, right? I was like, nah, hold on. It's a real emotion, right? He's a real human being, and he needs comfort, or he needs to be supported, or needs to be heard. And I think that's the sort of thing that men need. You know, whether it's from having a good network of brotherhood, but also what we need is in our spouse. Right? I need to be vulnerable with you. I need you to let you know that black men do cry.
Yeah.
You know, black men
cry in a
do
minute.
have feelings, right?
I will cry in a minute.
Yes.
And I think to your point, because you said a lot of good stuff, that vulnerability, and to your point, we don't want it to be used against us.
Yeah.
So when we are crying, we don't want it to become a joke.
Yeah.
We don't want it to become, you know what I mean, something that everybody knows, you know, and we're the last one to know.
Yeah.
Right? And that's part of that safety and that peace, right? You know, like everybody knows our business when we didn't give each other license to tell. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we have to be able to keep a secret our intimate relationship, our heart, our vulnerabilities within one another. There should be certain things that we should know. There should be inside jokes that we should have, right? There should be certain things like that, and a lot of times, that's where the relationship break apart because, you know, the secrets start coming out. You know what I mean? Now, I'm not talking about family secrets or trauma. I'm just like, there'd be those small little things. And those are the things that break the crack in the foundation.
So-and-so knows about this. Why don't I? I'm
yeah,
the
yeah.
spouse. You know,
Yeah,
that
spouse.
becomes an issue. But I appreciate what you said. But I was thinking about what Al Tariq was saying about we focused here. We talked about what makes men happy.
Yeah.
Right. But you took it to another level.
Yeah.
It's not just about being with your spouse being happy. It's about what makes men happy holistically.
Yeah.
And I appreciate about having. You talked about being in your relationships with other men, you know, your friendships, that kind of thing. And I think that's important to talk about because we automatically zoom in on one thing.
Yeah.
And say, oh, it makes me happy, or the women got to make us happy. The women got, you know, and it really is much more than that. A lot of it is self-reflection too.
Yes, it is.
You know, you got to figure out what makes you happy too.
Yeah.
But some folks don't know what makes them. Some guys don't know. You know, especially those who have had circumstances where they're fighting every day. Fighting every day.
That's good.
So you don't really have that thought process of what really makes me happy. You just go through day by day by day. You have some moments of joy, moments of a little of that. But what truly makes you happy with the long haul, over years, and that's what is important to figure out. And so speaking just of my personal life, you know, I didn't get married until I was late in life, but in my 40s. So I think what really happened is I had to develop and grow as a person.
Yeah.
I really had to think about it. You know, I lost my father my second year out of college. So although he was my role model for another 20 years, he wasn't there. Sure. You know, and it just took me probably dealing with toxic relationships to come to the point where, is this what I really want because it makes me happy? Or because other people think it makes me happy. Because that happens sometimes. There's perception out there.
Absolutely.
They put a relationship on you.
And they
Say,
put,
this is gonna make you happy.
You know, I've been in that situation where you know what, y'all are a power couple. Y'all great together.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
and that's the worst thing you want to hear. And based upon these bad relationships or toxic relationships, I made the determination personally, is like, you know what, I see what happened here. This didn't really make me happy. What this did was just make everybody else think I was happy. Or look on the outside looking like I was happy. And I really wasn't. And just like we talk about, Facebook makes everything look perfect.
Yeah.
You smiling, but in the back of your mind, you're like, what am I doing here? You go home and you're arguing all the time.
Yeah.
Outside, you hold, you got arm in arm, and
Yeah.
everybody thinks it's wonderful.
Yeah.
But that's not how it is. It really is something that I think you got to just self-reflect and take a break. A lot of times people go from relationship to relationship to
That's good.
relationship
Yeah.
and never get time for themselves to
Yeah.
understand what happened
Yeah.
and how do I become a better person so
Yeah.
that the next time I'm in a relationship,
Yeah.
a serious relationship,
Yeah.
that it doesn't go down the wrong path.
So let me ask you a question. So how did Zelma, make you, Larry, happier? Like you go from what you used to be to now, like, you know what? I hit my peak right now. I'm at my happiest moment. How did that happen? Like, what was that turning point?
What's funny? My relationship with Zelma happened right when I had, and it's funny because it was a relationship that ended.
Yeah.
Well, one of those things where I knew it ended.
The nigga came a little slow, right?
Maybe somebody else didn't realize it had ended. And I tell people she saved me because instead of me keep going back to this bad relationship, this toxic relationship, she was there to get me to move forward. She was there that actually brought joy to hanging out with. And it probably was a part of it was she was a lot younger than me, and so she had more of a free spirit. And I'm focused on work and this and that.
Yeah.
And she brought a lot out of me that I wouldn't have brought out before. And she was the right person at the right time. Yeah. And the God put her in my life, and that was it. I was like, boom, that's it.
A mentor of mine told me in the past, and I think back to the women thing, like he was like, you have to date yourself. You have to learn how to date yourself. So, and I'm like, what does that mean? He's like, actually date yourself. So it's like, cook for yourself, eat with yourself, go on dates, go to the movies by yourself. So I had to spend some time like really dating myself, like cooking for myself, sitting at the table, eating by myself, going to lunch by myself, going to the movies by myself to understand what I like and what I don't like, in order to be able to, one, know what I want in my life and know who I want in my life, and two, how can I be the person I need to be for the next person that's coming in my life. And to your point, I used to always give myself at least 1.5 year gap in between relationships. One, just give myself the year to get over
Cleanse
it.
yourself.
And then like another year to like I start rebuilding.
Relationship
Because that's important. That's what is important. You do need a relationship detox because when you're in these relationships, whether it's a friendship relationship, because some friends' relationship with a woman, it's like real relationships, and once those end, it's like a breakup. Like it wasn't nothing going on, but it was just like you missed that bond, you missed the relationship, so you had to like redevelop yourself. And when you're in these relationships, you begin to sometimes like not being who you are. I know for me, sometimes you have to like put on a mask sometimes, or just act, a certain way, or you're trying to please somebody so much that you put yourself to the side, So once and I think if a woman, whether it's in a relationship or friendship, if they start dating themselves and just start going through the stuff that their traumas and going through their stuff and just really peeling back those layers, because hurt people, so they can begin to be the person that they want to be or they can be for the man.
I think that's important. Articulating what it is that you enjoy.
Yeah.
And what peace looks like.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Being able to articulate it.
Yeah.
I think a lot of times we don't know how to articulate it. So that time that you take, you could take something from that relationship, but then you getting to know yourself even more, understand who you are in this time and in this season. I think that's important.
Yeah, if I saw something like I had who I want, an image of what I want, and if I saw a glimpse of something that I want, I'm cutting it off.
Yeah,
I'm giving no time to like get in my space and mess up any type of energy that I have. If it's like a little, I'm like I gotta go. This ain't this because I knew what I wanted.
I want to jump on what you just said. You said hurt people, and I think when I met Jaron, it was like happy people make people happy.
That's right.
Right?
It's energy.
And so like energy attracts energy.
That's right.
And so when she was happy, it just felt infectious. It's like I'm happy. Here, take some of this.
Because you can't be like the grumpy person.
Yeah, because it's hard,
you look
right?
crazy.
You look crazy and she's happy. Like, what are you upset about? What are you unhappy about?
Exactly.
And so when you talked about Zelma bringing things out of you, I'm like, wait a minute. I was in it like relationship detoxing, right? Detoxing.
That's
and
important.
so, I was, I was in my mid 30s, and I was like, I wanted a family,
Yeah.
but also felt like I had these these standards, which is really high. I just had particulars. Like I went to Howard.
Yeah.
You get I would say get cocky because you think Howard is
Yeah.
everywhere, and so
Yeah.
there's women like at Howard in every particular municipality throughout the exactly black conscious, incense and Erykah Badu and all this stuff, right?
Natural hair.
Natural hair. You
Yeah.
think you have all that stuff. But then you realize it's not there.
Yeah.
But then when you find somebody, it's like, yo, she could have been at Howard.
Yeah.
She could have been at Howard. She could have been at Howard,
Absolutely.
and she could hold her own, right?
Yeah.
And then she was happy.
Yeah.
And then the other part of it was when I was, and I think I shared with you earlier, was that when I was going through a foreclosure, when I was at the lowest moment of my life, she was still happy. She was supportive. She was non-judgmental, and she was encouraging. Then the last part of it was she was resourceful.
Yeah.
Right. You got to have some, like for me, having a wife, having a spouse, dating somebody
Yeah.
who bring resources to the table.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be money.
Yeah.
It can just simply be just saying the right thing at the right moment when you need to hear it. Planting the right seeds.
Yeah.
And I think for me, that's what Jaren was to me, was that she was able to be a great farmer, was to plant the right seeds at the right moment, protect me when I needed to be protection from outside forces, and then provide the sun to allow me to grow in those sort of spaces.
And I know women don't like she saw your potential.
She saw the
I know people like
potential. 'Cause I
that's
didn't
like a
have
bad
potential
thing.
at the
Right?
moment, right?
Like she saw where you could go.
She also gave you space to grow.
And
She did, yes,
100%,
And
100%.
time.
And
time to grow.
100%.
Yeah.
And I would
Yeah.
say that with my wife. She gives me space to grow.
Absolutely,
You know what I mean?
always.
I have an idea. We'll talk it through, and then she gives you space to grow that idea. You know what I mean? And I think that's important.
That's very
And that's a part of the piece.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because sometimes you have to think things through. You have to work it. You have to implement it.
Yeah.
Right? And then see how it goes. And then you could bring her along, or if
Yeah.
even if she wants to be a part of it, then that's how it comes together.
I 100%. There are times when I have to think about my response to Zelma.
Yeah.
And not being the response that I want to give, response that is necessarily needed for that moment. And I think that's critical.
Yeah.
And as we wrap up this session here today, on this one, we're talking about men being happy.
Yeah.
We love our women being happy too. Don't
Yeah.
get us wrong, but we're talking today about men being happy.
Yeah.
And I think we've had a good discussion about men being happy, what makes men happy, peace, communication, encouragement, spiritual, just so many wonderful parts that make us special. And self-reflection and understanding what makes us happy is extremely important. As you can see here, things get very personal. And we share our wisdom, and we hope that what we share helps you achieve your goals. Make sure you join us for the next sit down. Don't forget to rate, follow, subscribe, and share to the Wisdom, Wealth, and Winning podcast. Thank you for being here today.